Have you always dreamt of becoming a racing driver or turning passion into something real? At Scorpio Esports and RaceGen, we exist to make that journey possible. Backed by Scorpio Motorsport, a real racing team with 26 years of experience, we develop talent from sim to circuit. Just like Jason Kasman, who is now stepping into GB4. This is more than esports. This is a pathway. Join us today.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
In the world of single-seaters, Super Formula is one of the fastest and most demanding outside of F1, an evolution of Formula Nippon and Japanese F3000, originally a stepping stone to Formula One that many drivers followed and some, particularly Red Bull Academy drivers, continue to follow. In the iRacing Formula B series this season, we are broadcasting this time slot live on SimSpeed TV, keeping up with the championship points and keeping up with the amazing racing that it produces. So David Haynes here with Jay Kennedy as we head to Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, most commonly known as Imola, one of Italy's greatest Grand Prix circuits, famous throughout history and beloved of the Tifosi and Ferrari fans. We come to this 4.9 kilometer circuit with a 25 lap race ahead of us. Changed multiple times across the years, the most recent configuration is 4.9 kilometers long. Famous turns like Acqua Minerale, the tough chicane at Gresini, and Variante Tamburello, the long front straight ending in that chicane. We're just into week 8 of 13, and that means we are here at Imola, one of many great Italian circuits. It's got some close neighbours, not that far up the road from Imola, a bit further north of Misano, and Monza up the road at Milan there. Whole series of motorsport heritage in a line here with Sant'Agata not far away, Modena not far away either. A common testing track for the manufacturers of Italy. It's that long front straight into the tough chicane of Tamburello where the most passing takes place. Then the Villeneuve chicane also sets you up into the long hairpin at Tosa, climbing up the hill towards Piratella. Downhill, a tough braking zone into Acqua Minerale with the turn 11 kink just making it really difficult to turn, stop and place the car at the bottom of the hill at turn 12. Traction back up the hill towards the 14-15 chicane, and then downhill to the double left-handers of Ravazza. The exit is so critical, but so are the track limits. So this is the championship points in the Sim Speed Championship, all of our broadcasted races this season. The driver to beat has been Timothy Fries Larsen, 84 points to his name, with 24 points is what you get for a win. 18 for second, 15 for third, etc. FIA style. Dan Jiang with second in these points, then Adam Merchant. Jonsu Foster in fourth, Chris Rosenkrantz, James Byrne, Sonny Black, Ben Ford, Victor Awad, and JT Smeaton leading the way there. Lots of great tributes around the track, a lot of history to this place. In the iRacing Championship standings, which is weighted based on the strength of field and you can score points in any time slot, Dan Jiang leads Timothy Fries Larsen, Victor Awad, Dennis Branch, Brett Greaves, Sonny Black, James Byrne, JT Smeaton, Chris Rosenkrantz and Benjamin David. So that one even closer, but it's usually a great opportunity to score points for both championships in a strong time split, and that's what we often have with this broadcast slot. Qualifying underway before we get to the race.
Yeah, hello, David, and hello, everybody. Qualifying already underway, and it's already incredibly tight at the top of the timesheets. A few drivers already completed their runs, but Andreas Henkel at the moment, currently the driver to beat out there on track, currently with a 1 minute 21.099, about to finish his second flying lap. And
also looking like
also
looking like a good opportunity for Johan Sufoster. He's up there in second. Timothy Fries Larsen currently fifth. Looks like he's on the flying lap that could count. Can he improve the couple of tenths of a second he needs to be further up the grid? Oh, shaves 1/10 off. And that doesn't seem to count, though, unfortunately, for Timothy Fries Larsen. Fabrizio Rivera having some slight problems with his connection, but the lap time counts, moves him up into 7th. Chris Rosenkrantz, no time yet. Victor Awa down in 16th based on these times as well. Track limits, got to mind them in places like Acqua Minerale there, like the chicane coming up as well, and also through Tamburello and other places.
It is a track that is very aggressive in regards to track limits. It will bite you and bite you hard if you do go a little bit too aggressive in regards to track limits, so you do need to be careful. But these drivers would have done a lot of practice, worked out those limits, where they can push, where they don't need to push. Chris Rosenkrantz to complete his first of 2 flying laps. That's not a bad banker lap. 21.9. Slot him into 10th, right in that middle of the pack. Still got to find about a second and up towards the front of the field. Andreas Henkel will be feeling rather confident with that first flying lap, though.
Time on the board to complete that lap for Rosenkrantz. Lucas Hand, no time yet. So
Time
this
was
will
very slow.
probably be his last. At the top of the hill at Piratella. Easy to wash wide, and Chris Rosenkrantz just stays within the track limits. These cars have got oodles and oodles of grip. Really high quality tyres, very light chassis, and a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Your choice of Toyota or Honda. Now to try to, with perfect precision, approach that chicane eerily reminiscent of the final chicane at Montreal, another Grand Prix chicane with high curbs and reward but also consequences for trying to attack it. The braking zone down into Ravazza is very difficult because of those track limits midway through, but also because of the descending downhill that makes the car want to run on. 30 seconds left on the clock. Timing line comes up here. Chris Rosenkrantz about to complete another lap. Really good one to jump up into third. Second row of the grid for Chris Rosenkrantz on lap number 2. Just 20 seconds left in this session.
He's already completed his 2 attempts at the lap. Victor Ard has only completed 1 lap. He will not complete a second lap. With qualifying complete, Andreas Henkel will start on pole.
Absolutely. We've seen passing be possible, but not easy. And if you come from too deep in the field, by the time you've got your overtakes done, the leader might be too far away. So Andreas Henkel, great result here at Imola to be on pole for Formula B Super Formula. Jon-Sue Foster we saw in the top 10 of the championship. And this is a great opportunity to score points starting on the front row of the grid. Rosenkrantz, late lap time coming in qualifying, giving him third. Kostek Solovic in fourth. Thiago Spencer in 5th. Timothy Fries-Larsen leading the SimSpeed Championship starts from 6th. Tyler Noller in 7th. Fabrizio Rivera in 8th. Benjamin David in 9th. And Ben Ford in 10th. Valerio Fagundes Tavares 11th. And still within 1 second of the pole time, Dan Jiang will start from 12th. Our grid continues with 17 drivers in qualifying times. Daniel Radmilovic, Oliver Wilmot, Felipe Silva, Felipe Sarkis, and Victor Awad. 17th. Is that a surprise?
Big surprise. He's been a little bit higher up than that throughout the season, so a little bit shocked to see him that far back. But he's always a driver that does move his way forward, so we will no doubt see him make his way forward throughout this race as well. But it should be a very, very entertaining one. Looking forward to this. It's always one of my favourite tracks on any calendar that we have it on. This should be a brilliant one.
No pit stops required for these Super Formula cars, but the strategy comes from the Overtake Boost power system. You've got the illuminated roll hoop. 17 incidents is the incident limit for a drive-through. 25 is disqualification. 25 lap race gives us 122 kilometers. It's about preserving your tires somewhat, although it looks relatively cool out there. But it's also about when and how you choose to use that extra horsepower. When you do use it, there's a post-use cooldown that then locks you out for a time being. So if you use it and then end up in the cooldown, a rival behind you could then use theirs and you're not able to react. They'll have to react to the 5 lights of the race start though. 25 laps is go. Good getaway from your pole sitter, good getaway from second. A bog down for some others, a standing start for the Super Formula cars, short run from the standing grid towards Tamburello. High curbs here that you want to avoid as best you can. Doesn't look like the track got swept. There's marbles and dust out there offline as well, as some drivers will look to encounter that. Towards Villeneuve, going single file, stay tight to the left to open up the right, to go towards Toza, a braking zone and an overtaking opportunity. And already Timothy Fries-Larsen is looking to move through this field. Already looks like he might be up into 4th, side by side, heading towards Piratella. The inside is always going to win on the opening lap. The outside, man, there are so many marbles. Overcast day, heading down into Aqua Minerale. Don't want to hit the right-hand side of the curve. Don't want to get a slowdown or an off-track on the outside of the left. You want to position yourself perfectly in the chicane. Andreas Henkel still leads with 200 seconds of push to pass available, and that's a worst on this start for Victor Auer.
There's something happened to Victor Auer. Something also happened to Felipe Silva on the first lap as well, through Villeneuve chicane as well. So we'll have to work out what's happened to him, but the rest of the field has got through the first lap relatively unscathed. A few drivers already on the push-to-pass system on the overtake button, trying to get a move done down the front straight. But front 3, the nose to tail, a little bit of a breakaway already.
Henkel with just a couple of seconds used defensively. Foster, Rosenkrantz and Larsen not using any of theirs. Battle going on back there with Fabrizio Rivera's internet still seems very challenging, and I think his rivals won't be appreciating that as they try to race him wheel to wheel. I would have a headache if I was Ben Ford right now. He probably does too.
Very difficult when you're in this situation because you just don't know how to predict what the car in front of you is doing. The positive is that iRacing now can deal with drivers in this situation. So if it does become extremely bad, that driver in front of Rivera will be given a black flag and sent to the pit. So if the situation becomes extreme, it will be removed. Interesting to note as well, Andreas Henkel did use the overtake system on the front straight on that first lap. I did miss that as a mistake for Foster. Kevin Foster makes a mistake and pass done. Chris Rosenkrantz through. And he's now on the overtake.
Krantz was all over him and then has made a mistake from Sue Foster. He'll try to strike back, but it's a little bit of extra boost from Rosenkrantz. Just closed the door in this battle for second and third on their way to Tamburello. Really helps Timothy Fries-Larsen get a little bit closer, and he hasn't touched any of his overtake yet. Ben Ford has taken a bit of a dollop, and he takes the fastest lap of the race. He's gone past Fabrizio Rivera. Benjamin David appears to have been going back and forth with him, but who knows? I can't tell you. Superposition is the Fabrizio Rivera. He's here and he's not.
Well, Ben Ford has got through, and now Benjamin David is behind him. So yeah, Ben Ford has made that move confirmed. And also just seeing Daniel Radmilovic has made his way to the lane. So something has happened to him out on the circuit. So what's happened to him.
Good little lead for Andreas Henkel at the moment. Appears to have broken the slipstream that is really only in effect down the front straight here at Imola. Really long front straight, really twisty other half of the lap is the typical characteristic of this place. So second, third, fourth all get a little bit closer, and this is going to be a tight moment going into Tamburello, forced wide and leaping across those anti-cut curbs.
I'm going to guess there's a bit of floor damage because he's just pulled it to the side very quickly and then was slow for the rest of the lap and brought it into the pits. So I'm guessing there's a bit of damage to Radmilovic's car. He's still in the pit lane, so that car obviously very heavily damaged on the floor after that incident.
Race leader and pole sitter Andreas Henkel finally has a little bit of a go at his overtake system and sets a new fastest lap of the race doing so, trying to continue to have that slipstream broken to Rosenkrantz, who's come through to second. Foster still holding on to third. Timothy Fries-Larsen also hasn't pushed the button, sits in fourth place. We ride on board with Kostek Solovic in sixth place, looking forward at Thiago Spencer. Many drivers from all around the world participating in this. It is great to see that. Solovic now got to place himself for the chicane at the top of the hill. Usually, best strategy is attack lots of the first curb, stay off the second one so that the car remains level and on the ground to get good drive out of the corner. They're all attacking heaps of it this time around. And Rosenkrantz has had a mistake, dropped back into third, now feeling the pressure from Fries-Larsen, who unleashes the horsepower. This is what it was. A slowdown?
He might have got a slowdown back.
At Aqua Minerale on the exit. Yeah, that can happen. So Foster into second, Fries-Larsen up into third. Rosenkrantz's great work to get into that second place begins to evaporate somewhat as he goes back into fourth, and Thiago Spencer is finding speed to run with this battle for those podium positions.
What that does as well is it hurts him even further to that lead as well, because Henkel now has got an over 2 second advantage. He's broken a little bit more of a gap, so that will help him out now as well. So he will be absolutely thrilled. And I've also just noticed that I was talking before about Rivera with his internet issues. He has been given a black flag from Race Control, iRacing Race Control, that his internet connection is not stable enough to continue out on the circuit. He has been forced back to the pit lane.
Or a little bit of the track limits being pushed on the exit of Aqua Minerale again. So I think you go a certain amount, it's an off track. You go even further, it's a slowdown. So you can handle taking the off track a couple of times, but not every lap. only a 17x incident limit in a 25-lap race. That slowdown will clearly be very, very costly with how close these Super Formula cars always race. Going into the chicane, getting too close, locking up the rears, almost finding the wall there as well.
Lucas very close to the wall.
So Foster finds a new fastest lap of the race. These cars, in good track conditions, just continue to get faster. The tyres are durable and need a little bit of heat to work. And of course, single-seater cars are so light that the weight of fuel as a percentage on board them means that they really continue to gain performance as they burn through their fuel. It can be, as light as sort of 600 kilograms compared to 900 kilograms for an LMP2 car, 1,200 kilograms for a GT3 car, etc. Suddenly, 50 kilos of fuel is a lot. It's like when you see a really big backpack on a primary school kid.
Reminds me of my kids carrying the backpack. It's way too big for them.
I knew you'd be able to relate, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers can, if you've ever, caught the bus or the train in the morning and seen those school kids. Fries Larsen uses a little bit of his boost. Rosenkrantz is really getting through his, and a lot of information is given to the other drivers when they look at the rain light or the roll hoop light of the car in front. Fries Larsen arriving at massive speed into the braking zone of Tamburello, and in doing so, a new fastest lap of the race goes his way. That will just keep getting chipped away at. Behind them, though, the battle between Spencer and Rosenkrantz. And man, from second, it's now a free fall for Rosenkrantz. Is there a chance he has just a little bit of damage, or has he just overdone his tyres and hurt his confidence?
Could it just be the confidence side of things? Just needs to get back into a rhythm again after that slowdown he had before. He's just lost a little bit of self-confidence and self-belief. He's just trying to get himself back in the zone, but he's dropped right back, and now Imola and Ben Ford have got themselves on the back of that battle again. So it's an interesting little fight now.
Again, always so close, and there's a couple of drivers back there with plenty of push-to-pass still to use, including Lucas Hands. Arward trying to work his way through the field. One of the drivers inside of our championship top 10 has had a fair go at his. Andreas Henkel also not shy, as his lead gap has been slowly eroded. Jon Sue Foster closing him, but also Timothy Fries Larsen with that fastest lap of the race, and then I think almost goes and breaks it again. So he's finding his stride. He's the SimSpeed Championship leader.
Just lost Victor Ard from this race as well. So Victor is out of the race, out of the running. He's had a big moment. Bang. Rear wheel disconnected from the car. He is done.
Not particularly forgiving through that chicane. Also not forgiving with the anti-cut curbs in other places like Tamburello. Henkel gets a little bit more lead back. He'll want to stay 1.5 seconds at least to break any slipstream advantage to Foster. Fries Larsen is quite close behind that. And here is Ben Ford behind Tyler Noller. Up there's Thiago Spencer trying to hold down 4th place. Rosenkrantz not shying away from trying to get back into this fight. And it looks like he's got the Honda logo on his nose. So no real discernible performance difference at all between the Toyota or the Honda engine, but you do have to pick one. They are different cars to iRacing.
Same but different, isn't it? It's exactly the same cars with no difference at all. They only have a difference of pretending to be different. Rosenkrantz not quite enough pace to get back through, but he didn't have to use the button there to close the gap down. Spencer was on the cool down, which is 100 seconds from when you start when the button is pressed. 100 seconds before you can press once again. And unlike DRS or any of the other systems you see around the world, it's a press and forget system. So you press the button, it will run until you press the button again to turn it off. So you can run it 100, 200 seconds straight. It's just until you run it and decide you want to turn it back off again. So some drivers have been caught out throughout the series where they don't turn the button off.
Yeah, when you activate, nothing deactivates it except the button again. Not the brake pedal, not lifting off full throttle. Maybe not even entering pit lane, but we haven't needed to test that one. Dramas here for Ben Ford as he loses a handful of positions.
Yeah, the two Bens came together.
Oh no. Well, it advantages a few of the drivers that sneak through, like Lucas Hand. And so for Ben Ford going into the chicane, it's just too much of the first curb. A spin. Oh, I think the driver behind's just locked up and ended up sliding and getting trapped instead of not being able to make the turn. His hand goes through, and he wants that spot back.
And David's tried to do the right thing and slow down to make sure he hasn't made contact, and it's just locked the wheels up and hasn't been able to steer away from the incident. Unfortunate, but positive is he didn't make contact, so he will continue on. But they've both put themselves in spots. Remember, we saw Lucas Hand make that mistake earlier. He still has gained the most positions in the field, +8. Remember, he didn't put in a qualifying time. He's now into the top 10.
All of our top 3 in Overtake System cooldown as we look at 4th and 5th, who will have it available to them if they want to use it on the front stretch this time. Going through Ravazza, the double left-hander. Spencer been struggling a little bit for traction out of some of the slower corners. That final corner feels pretty fast. Rosenkrantz behind him, gets on the button, closes in, has the slipstream on the long front straight, and Thiago Spencer will make him go to the outside for Tamburello. I think there's enough of a speed advantage there, but before they even get to the braking zone, Chris Rosenkrantz back into 4th position. Thiago Spencer at 5th. Kostek Solovic also has used a little bit of push to pass to try to close in 6th place at the moment.
It's interesting that usually by this stage in the race we'd see one driver that's used at least half of their overtake system. They've been a little bit aggressive, and we'd usually see one driver that hasn't used any, but this race has been a little bit outside the norm in that aspect. We've seen everyone use it at least once. Imola, the only that's used it sparingly, has still got 190 seconds left, but everyone else has used it a decent amount, and the driver that uses it the most is Felipe Sarkis. He is down to 134 seconds remaining currently in cooldown.
17 drivers set qualifying times, but there's 18 drivers, and I'm pretty sure Sarkis was the driver that will have started from the back without a qualifying time. So moved up a couple of spots with some retirements from Awad Rivera and Radmilovic. Getting towards the halfway point of this race on the next lap, and still a few drivers have quite a bit of reserve of overtake, including Tyler Nola is just in the back of picture in 7th, behind Kostek Solovic, who we follow through the Villeneuve chicane. Pretty big braking zone at Tosa, and as it goes uphill, the traction zone is quite challenging there, as you often have quite a bit of steering angle working your way through that corner as you're trying to open up traction. 3-way fight a little bit further back here. Oliver Wilmot, Ben Ford, Benjamin David by the looks of things. Lucas Hand, in fact, as well.
Yep, Lucas Hand now +9. So he was the driver that didn't put in the qualifying time, so started in 18, +18. Valero Tavares, he started from pit lane, he missed the start, but everyone else started out on the circuit. So yeah, everyone's had an interesting race.
Quite a few F1 tribute liveries getting around here. And pace from our race leader has a bit of a snap in the middle of Tamburello. Foster gets a little bit closer. Timothy Fries Larson has been about this distance behind for quite some time. So I wonder what his strategy is, because he can be incredibly quick, and there's a few races we've seen where he gets to the lead, and if he had that 1.5 second gap, you'd never see him again. It appears like he's got the Toyota engine.
Almost calculating what he needs to do to close that gap down, and working out how much he needs to gain a lap, how much overtake system you can use, what lap he needs to use it, which of the 3 laps he needs to use it on, and then he's not using it every second lap, he's using it every 3rd lap. And it's a very interesting strategy that you see here going on. See if these guys use it on this lap, because they've now ended their cooldown. Yep, all 3 of these guys are on the overtake system. Foster and Chris Larson all on the overtake.
You can see it on the wheel.
Yep. And just hit 300 k's an hour too.
Yeah, not bad, Mark Scaife. Chris Rosenkrantz setting a new fastest lap back there in 4th. So he has had some inconsistencies, but there's no denying his pace, and if he doesn't get on the podium, he'll probably be kicking himself, and an opportunity gone begging. Foster's been consistent here and is now finding a little bit more pace compared to Henkel as it goes along. So Fries Larson now only 1.4 seconds away from the race lead. Eon-Su Foster within 1 second of the race lead at points here. Henkel just slowly losing the advantage.
Don't forget when Rosenkrantz had those couple of issues when he was in 2nd position, that gap was out to just over 2 seconds, 1st to 2nd, and now it's down to 7 to 8 tenths of a second. So this lead battle is heating up rather quickly now. 6 tenths now for Kevin Foster, and closing at a rapid rate. The draft will help him down the front straight now too.
Yeah, well, at 300 k's an hour, no matter how slippery the car is, you're always going to enjoy a slipstream, because that is a serious headwind at that kind of pace. A top 3, so close, completing another lap. Yeah, it's Foster just chipping away at this, because it's gone from 2 seconds to 1.8 seconds, 1.5 to within 1 second, and a little bit of use of that boost. But at this distance, yeah, an easy free 2 or 3 tenths of a second down the front straight.
The last lap by was half a second faster for Foster, so he's gaining decent chunks of time in the last couple of laps. Look at that.
Good for Fries Larson too, if he thinks he can take the win in this race, is that Foster's not holding him up, Henkel's not getting away. As he goes with Foster, Foster gets closer to Henkel, and the race lead it also gets closer to Fries Larson. He's playing himself into contention for the final few laps here as well. Henkel very cautious through the chicane. Foster gains 2 tenths right there.
This is the first time he's had pressure on him too, isn't it? Since the start of the race, he sort of broke away to a decent margin. He didn't have pressure at the start because the pressure was all 2nd and 3rd. Now he's feeling pressure from behind for the first time this entire race, not using the overtake system on this lap. Yes, he is. He's responded to Foster using it. Fries Larson has decided not to use it. He's letting the front 2 fight. No overtake going to happen on this run. This battle is just heating up, and you can tell that Fries Larson is sitting there watching, waiting, and anticipating for his opportunity to pounce on this battle for the lead.
This is where the tactics of that overtake system come in as well. A lot of the tracks we go to, the lap times for 1 lap is shorter than what the cooldown is on the overtake system. If you use it on the front straight 1 lap, you'll be locked out of it on the next lap. So Fries Larson abstaining will know that Henkel and Foster probably won't have usage of that system this time on the front straight. He's played his chess perfectly as they've moved to try to cover each other off. They've now checkmated themselves against his queen potentially here. So that's something to look out for at the end of this lap. Clearly the challenge every single lap is being millimetre precise through that chicane.
Exactly right. He'll probably use it on this lap now to get an advantage and maybe overtake Foster. But the other side of that too is he could quite intently sit behind for another couple of laps let the two in front use the overtake system again without him using it, and get himself 20 or 30 seconds extra to then have the opportunity to run it with a little straight to Villeneuve after this section here. So yeah, it does leave himself the opportunity, but I tell you what, Foster is close now, and it has the run, but not quite close enough to into Villeneuve.
That's why Larsson's waiting. He wants to see what happens between these two. If Foster and Henkel will collide, or if Foster will get ahead. He's just going to wait to see what they do. But no doubting the pace of the top three is some quality drivers. There's still a distance down the road from Chris Rosenkrantz in 4th, Tiago Spencer in 5th, Kostek Solovic in 6th, and Tyler Imola still really holding on to a lot of push to pass left in 7th place there. Jiang, Hand and Ford completing the top 10 as Foster is within a car length of Andreas Henkel. Both of them will be able to use their extra horsepower on the front straight this time by, and you'd almost be certain that they'll think about it in close combat like this. Foster still moving around in the mirrors of Henkel. Into Rivazza, they stay within track limits tidily. Plenty of apex curb at the final corner, a little bit on the exit, and it's Foster who pushes the button. Henkel doesn't. Larsson hasn't, but I think it was just a small amount from Foster as he pulls out alongside Henkel. Henkel drops back into 2nd. Foster may have used more than we thought. He goes to the race lead.
So Foster's got 121 seconds remaining. Henkel 110.
9.
Yeah, 9 seconds, and Larsson 147. So interesting is back in the field, Ford and Hand side by side. Lucas Hand maintains his position ahead of Ben Ford, but these guys have been fighting for the last couple of laps. We haven't been able to go back and watch because that lead has been extremely entertaining. Larsson now is close enough potentially to get a move done on Henkel. When does he push the button? Still 7.5 laps to go. So there's still plenty of racing left in this one. Still 40 odd kilometres of racing left. So this is going to be a highly entertaining finish between these guys at the front. And you still can't discount Chris Rosenkrantz. He's not that far back. And if these guys continue to fight, he will be there within a couple of laps because they will slow each other down quite quickly. That's the other side of these guys fighting. If they fight too much too, Kevin Foster will just drive away at the front.
So patience running out for Larsson. He's seen Foster go by Henkel. He thinks if he doesn't get by Henkel, Foster might clear out. But Henkel had use of the overtake system, as did Friese Larsson, so they both used it. Status quo maintained. Henkel holding on 2 seconds. Larsson moving around far more than we saw from a couple of laps ago as Foster sets a new fastest lap of the race. He's trying to break clear of this. If he doesn't, he knows that Larsson is starting to get itchy feet.
Whereas Larsson has 140 seconds remaining. Grace Henkel now 99 seconds remaining. So he's broken into the minus 100. And confirmed also Benjamin David is less than 100 seconds remaining, as does Felipe Sarkis. They both will also have less than 100 seconds remaining. With 6 and a bit laps to go. It's probably not the end of the world. First time we've seen that someone has not hit their whole 200 to this point of the race though.
There's almost always someone who's like forgot to map the button or something.
Or just
Larsson has no offset to Henkel in the use of the overtake system. So that is going to make it difficult now. Foster, another fastest lap of the race. They just keep getting quicker, and it's looking like beautiful conditions for quick laps. Dry, but overcast will give you a track temperature somewhere in the 20s, and that's good for the tyre longevity, good for grip, and lets you just keep building in. Henkel a little cautious, Larsson a little wide. To Tosa, Henkel struggled a little bit here, and Larsson had a good exit a lap ago and then thought better of looking to the inside of Piratella, but the longer this goes on, Foster's broken a second, almost broken 1.2 here.
That's the downside to these guys fighting is that they will let the leader go in front, and they'll also allow Rosenkrantz to close in. He's got it down 3 seconds to 2.4. If they continue to fight, that will close down even quicker. So another couple of tenths closed in. So he's closing and getting closer. So don't be surprised to see Rosenkrantz in the back of this tail of these two drivers within a couple of laps to go as well. So it could be a 3-car battle for second position with 2 laps to go. Don't be surprised to see that.
Here comes Larson of overtake. Henkel didn't use any, even though he had the option to. Trying to preserve those seconds, and that's Fries Larson through into second place. They're now going to try to hunt down Yeon-Soo Foster. If you want to use a whole lap of overtake on the final lap, then you can't use it on lap 24 or the halfway point of lap 23. So 22 is really the last time you can. And this is how Ben Ford crashed out of the race. And again, another driver sees a strewn car on the exit of the chicane, and target fixation takes over.
Oliver Wilmot was the driver that drove in there, and both of them out of the race will not finish. That's so unfortunate.
We almost had the assassination of Archduke Franz Ford and Hand.
Almost.
So, next lap's probably the last time you can use the overtake system to clear the cooldown in time to then be able to do the full final lap. Larson's in the cooldown now.
Look how close Rosenkrantz has got now to the back of Henk as well. He's only 1.6 seconds back. He's not that far away.
Yes, pulled away a little bit from Solovic, who's not that far ahead of Thiago Spencer, and Nola is finally getting through a little bit of his overtake. A fair bit of it, I'd say, as he lays down a new fastest lap of the race. Dan Jiang in 8th, Lucas Hand in 9th, and Benjamin David now up into 10th after that crash for Ford and then Wilmot. We look at Fries Larson, 99 seconds left. Boost 121 for Foster, who's held him behind so far.
With only 88 seconds remaining, so he doesn't have a huge amount.
Looks good for Rosenkrantz and Solovic as well, though. Always such close racing in Super Formula. These margins just sort of 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. Not a whole lot of field spread amongst our top split drivers in this SimSpeed Championship. So I think right now is the last time you could, in fact, yeah, last time you could use it and then have the cooldown clear. So Fries Larson's going to try to close the gap and the slipstream to Yeon-Soo Foster. Beginning lap 23. 3 laps to go. Fries Larson, our quickest driver so far this season and our championship leader, always an undeniable force in these Super Formula cars. Did not qualify on the front row of the grid, has had to do some work, and he has saved his charge, literally and figuratively, till right at the end.
I mean, this run almost to perfection. We said that he would be calculating when to use, how much to keep for the end. Has he got enough left on the button for that last run at it at the end? He's got basically a lap and the front straight's worth left to run. 87 seconds worth, with the lap taking around about 81 seconds worth. So he's basically got the right amount for a lap and a straight. So, we'll see if that is enough to get the run on Yeon-Soo Foster, but Foster with basically 2 minutes worth.
And trying to break some of the toe. Yeah, the amount of you'd want to save is to activate coming out of Rivatsa down the straight to take the white flag, be able to have the boost the whole lap, and then at the end of that final lap, the drag out of the final corner to the start-finish line, you'd still want to be in the boost then. So I think That's sort of the number that Larson and Henkel have counted backwards to. Foster will have a little bit more, so might be able to use it from exiting the chicane. Coming towards the white flag lap, which would be this time by. So you might see Foster, activates now. I think that button's going to stay on all the way to the end. It doesn't? No, he's surely still on, right?
It's still on. It's still on.
Fries Larson's gone early with his as well. So he won't have it out of Ravazza on the final lap. He'll have it from here, out of Ravazza this time, to begin the final lap. White flag will come for them on the start-finish straight. This time, Foster has got to hold on for one more lap.
And hold on for another, basically 5 kilometres. Not much left in this. But 7 tenths to hold. 7 tenths to manage, really be able to do it. Not much left to go. Everyone is on the button. Lucas Hand will get on the button as soon as he gets on the front straight. So everyone will be on it for the rest of this race now. Will Fries Larson be able to close this gap down? It's at 6 tenths of a second.
Let you know how powerful that system is. Kostek Solovej was early on that button and he sets in your fastest lap of the race. From 5th place, trying to fend off Thiago Spencer. Foster doing a great job here. Worked his way forward, but saved enough of his overtake system that he has been able to use it in defence on this final lap when the pressure was greatest from Fries Larson. He's ride with the Norwegian and championship leader. He's got the second most positions gained on the race, but there's one position he really wants to gain, and it's half a second ahead of him. Foster, with that extra power available, slid in the traction zone of the chicane, but Fries Larson has run dry. Foster's still got 10 more seconds to use coming out of the final corner here. That means he'll get a great drive off Ravazza onto the front straight, heading towards the checkered flag at Imola. Yonsu Foster will take the win and the 25 points. Fries Larson will keep the championship lead with a second place finish.
Chris Rosenkrantz will pick up the fastest lap on the final lap as well, so good job from him. Lucas Hand +9 in the race as well. Dan Jiang will finish 8th, Hand will finish 9th, and Benjamin David will be the last driver to get a point in the SimSpeed Points Championship, finishing just ahead of Felipe Silva. But that was a great battle at the front, really tactical. Well done for Foster, Larson and Henkel. Bad luck from Henkel though, because he did drive really well, but I just don't think he had enough left in the tank in regards to maintaining the tyre life to hold on to that win. But did give it his all, which is all you can ask for.
Athletics Club there on the inside of Tamburello. Pizza restaurant on the inside of Ravazza. Plenty of things to see around Imola. As we look to the results, Foster, a great win from Timothy Fries Larson, who didn't qualify as well as might have been possible, but came up towards second place. Andreas Henkel got to salute that qualifying and the pole position and completes the podium in third place. Chris Rosenkrantz from as high as second to I think as low as sixth ends up bang in the middle there in fourth. Kostek Solovej in fifth. Thiago Spencer in sixth. Tyler Noller in seventh. Close margins between 5th, 6th and 7th right there. Dan Jiang scoring some points in 8th. Lucas Hand in 9th. And Benjamin David will be the last driver to score points in our format, as you said, in 10th. Felipe Silva in 11th. Valerio Fagundes Tavares in 12th. Felipe Sarkis in 13th. And then Ben Ford, a retirement. He went out in the chicane with a spin into the wall. Took Oliver Wilmot with him a little bit there. Victor Awad, also a retirement with what seemed like it might have been damage to his car. He didn't want to continue with it. Fabrizio Rivera there a couple of laps down, and the first and earliest retirement in the race was Daniel Radmilovic. Well, We'll get to our podium after this. Got to thank everyone who has put together this community broadcast for Super Formula Series. It's SyncMesh, Pimax, Scorpio Esports, Get Good, and Grid Finder. And Full Push Sim Gear, Canada's ultimate destination for elite gear. From precision pedals to professional turnkey rigs, we fuel your obsession. Pure performance, expert support, push harder, drive faster. Traction.gg. If you're enjoying the virtual action and want to understand more about the goings-on within sim racing, visit the Traction.gg website daily for the latest platform updates, news and interviews. Stay up to speed with the industry, the developers and the latest equipment. That's Traction.gg, where you can also sign up for their weekly newsletter. Sim Racing Nation, the community for sim racing enthusiasts and motorsport professionals from around the world. They focus on fostering competitive racing and an environment for drivers of all skill levels. Sim Gaming Expo returns September 18th through 20th in Schaumburg, Illinois, North America's only event celebrating every genre of simulation gaming under one roof. Get your tickets at simgamingexpo.com. TDI 99, level up with 15 years of racing grit. TDI delivers pro tips, quick laps, and the hard truths F1 won't discuss. Follow TDI 99 on YouTube today. Tamash Setups. Take your iRacing setups to the next level with Tamash Setups. Get race-winning, well-received setups for Super Formula and Super Formula Lights today. Head on over to tamashsetups.com or search for Tamash Setups on Patreon. The Into the Apex podcast follows the world of sim racing as if in a Discord on a Friday night or around the campfire. See more at intotheapex.com. Podium is here, and second place, Timothy Fries Larson, the second most positions gained. Tough to overtake at Imola in places like the chicanes, but a long front straight means that tactical usage of the overtake system was key.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much all about track position here at this track, and so getting a good qualifying is really important, and I kind of failed at that, having messed up my second lap. So yeah, I kind of lowered my expectations after that, but yeah, I got a decent start, climbed up to fourth by the end of the first lap. Then Chris and Kevin started fighting, and I got past Chris, and then it was just to see if me and Kevin could both catch up to Andreas, which we eventually did, which surprised me, to be honest. But yeah, after that, once Kevin got past, I just wasted too much time behind Andreas, and that created the gap, which was just slightly too big to catch up after I got past Andreas again. So yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy with this race and the pace in my setup compared to the last time Kevin was here. But yeah, still a bit disappointed about the quality and the mistakes I made, which cost me a possible win.
Two places that we saw drivers making mistakes seemed like running wide in Aqua Minerale, which is obviously very difficult with the curved braking zone, and then these single-seater cars, that chicane at the top of the hill is just so... It seems like millimeter precision to be quick, and on the wrong side of it, and you just get spun out and bottoms the car and the wall's right there.
Yeah, you need to be super precise in those two corners. And another challenge for us was the off tracks, at least on my end, because I ended this race with 15x, so and I got all of those quite early on, so I had to kind of dial back the pace towards the end of the race to not risk getting disqualified. So yeah, that again cost me a possible win, but lessons learned as always.
I heard there's a Norwegian princess studying in Sydney. Can you tell her I'm single?
Well, if I ever meet her somehow, then yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. And you're the king of the championship standings at the moment. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you guys then.
And race winner, Kevin Foster, going to join us. Great race by you to go through and up through some of those positions, but also conserve enough overtake system to be able to fend off Timothy on the final lap.
It's definitely been a very exciting race, which is a refresher, honestly. Yeah, I think didn't get a second lap in quali, which I'm quite upset about. I made a mistake in like the second corner, pushing way too hard too soon. So I was just hoping that it wouldn't put me too far back. Fortunately, my first lap was still good enough for the front row. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, it was just a strategic battle with the overtake system and how you pushed the tires. By the end of the race, I was starting to slide around quite a bit and losing confidence, which is normally the opposite. Normally, you want to be gaining confidence into those final few laps. So, yeah, managed to hunt down Andreas, get by, and then hold off Timothy for the win.
He just told us he finished the race with 15x and it's 17 before the drive-through, obviously. So, were the places you thought that was touch and go, and were you having any problems with that?
I can't. I can't say I was doing the same. I was up there. I was about 12x. Yeah, there's a few places on the track where you really benefit by taking an X, especially early on in the race, when the tires aren't quite giving you full peak grip. But near the end of the race, as I saw the delta close within a second, and that's when the slipstream really starts to pick up, I started to push the limits and kind of knew that I had a reserve of 4 or 5 X's before I had to back off completely.
So the tactical use of the overtake system, you held some right to the end, but with a track like this where there's one real straight, is it kind of made easier to predict when your rivals are going to use it and when you're going to want to have it available and work backwards on the cooldown?
That's starting to get a bit too into the mental gymnastics for myself. I normally try and conserve all of the OTS to burn it all in one go. As you know, as soon as you disable the overtake system, you have to wait 100 seconds before it becomes available again. So if you press the overtake on the main straight, you won't have it available for the following lap. Imola is only an 80-second lap. So there was a bit of trying to bait the car in front to burn their overtake. Like you'd flick yours on, they'd see that you turn it on, they turn theirs on, and then you turn yours off. And that kind of offset gives you at least a little bit of margin to play with. And I think that's how I managed to get close to Andreas and close the gap. Is just I could see that he was consistently burning about 4 or 5 more seconds, and I was turning mine off that little bit sooner, giving me the ability to turn it on just that 4 or 5 seconds sooner and get the run out of the final corner.
You came into this race fourth in the SimSpeed Championship standings, but 25 points to your name definitely launch you past Adam Merchant. And I haven't done the maths on this one, but you might even be ahead of Dan Jiang and into second.
I'm just going to keep my head down and take the races as they come. If you do the job on track, then the championship points will sort themselves out.
Well done. Hope you enjoyed your race. Hope we get to chat again soon and yeah, enjoy the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for hosting the SimSpeed race. It's honestly such a pleasure to see how much the community has grown and how much passion there is behind the Super Formula. In no small part, that's thanks to SRN. I have to thank Alan over there. Got to thank Tomas for the setup. He always provides a car that's on rails and able to compete for the win week in, week out. And yeah, to my family and friends that always tune in and watch, albeit in the sim, these races.
Thanks. See you next time.
Yep. Take care.
And next time for Formula B Super Formula Series is the Hungaroring. It'll be the same time, Saturday evening, European for that race. Another great Grand Prix style circuit for Formula B. Some tight chicanes, some curbs to manage there, some flowing corners, track limits also a little bit of an issue, and a long front straight, whether you'll want to use your overtake system. So follow SimSpeed TV and you won't miss that and all the other great sim racing action we'll be bringing you. Kevin Foster is today's race winner. Timothy Fries-Larsen holds on to the SimSpeed Championship lead when round 9 of 13 begins next week. I've been David Haynes with Jay Kennedy for SimSpeed TV. Thank you to the community for Super Formula who make this broadcast possible, and we'll see you next week.